Hello, hello. Monday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as usual. I'm here. Are you here? Or have you set your mind, if you're watching this after on YouTube, have you set your mind that you want to be in control, not your mind? You're in control. You're not your mind, you're not your body, and you want to be in control. Use my lives to sort of tell your mind, this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to listen, see which lessons are applicable to me, internalize what I need, and make changes. I want to be a certain person. I want to live a certain way. And I'm not going to let my mind tell me what to do. Your mind is your most powerful tool that you will ever own in this life, that humanity owns in this life. And if you let the tool take over and run on automatic, like the way people live their lives nowadays, most people, you're not going to have the results that your spirit wants. So don't be surprised if your life is out of alignment when you let your mind take over and run your day to day versus your spirit take over and go on the impulse of what you, the person, the spirit, wants to do. The mind is supposed to be your servant. But the way most people live, they are the servant to their mind. The mind says, I'm anxious. Go eat something. Go eat something to make me feel better, make me feel less anxious. Go to the cupboard. Guys, please don't call me. I don't take calls during my lives. Hello? I hope I didn't answer that. Sometimes I like answer somehow. All right, please don't call me. I'm the best coach. Thanks so much. Where was I? Yeah. So the mind says, I'm anxious. Go eat something to make me feel better. Go eat some ice cream. Go snack on something. So you go. You obey. You obey your servant. Think about this. Think about this. The mind says, let's write this paragraph, send it to this person, because I want to feel like I need some validation right now. I'm not feeling, but your spirit knows that person is not the one for you. Your spirit knows that that's not a good person to be with or to hang out with or to talk to. Every time you talk to him, he makes you feel bad. But your mind wants some validation. So I'm just giving you some examples. If you let your mind take over versus if you do what you want to do. No, you cannot join my live. My lives are educational. I take questions that from my group generally and from people who have pertinent questions on mindset and manifestation. I do 1 hour a week and it's very valuable time. And let me actually block this distractor because I don't like to be distracted. All right. So where was I? We're talking about the mind. I want to get right into the questions. I've done a video on level 5 manifestation, which is manifesting things out of thin air. I've done this, I don't know, a few days ago, maybe 5 days ago. It went a little bit viral, so a lot of people liked it. And the comments are the best part of when a video goes viral, right? Because I have so many perspectives and so many comments. Some of them I'm going to read right now. They're educational for all. I'm going to give you my response, my interpretation. But I'm really excited about seeing so many people saying, actually, I have been able to do that. Or I have been able to observe somebody who's actually doing that. And you got to watch that because I'm explaining ways in which the level 5 manifestation could come to pass. And it really has to do, it's very interesting. It really has to do with somebody accessing the formless substance, as always. And as opposed to giving an instruction for a future event, which is how manifestation works, especially in my group, instead of that, the person goes in there and rearranges atoms to make them structurally feasible to a matrix that could be replicated in our world. So there's the idea that they're putting in there. There's the matrix around that object that is being formed. They have to be very, very specific and clear and know what they're trying to do. And then there is the power of collapsing that into our 3D world. Right? So people can do that. I am 100% convinced. There's many, many stories about it. Actually, I read this book a long time ago, but I'm rereading it now. And the person I mentioned in the video is not part of this book because it's not a contemporary. That guy is more contemporary to us. But this was written in, I'm going to say 1940s. I don't know if anybody's read it. Autobiography of a Yogi. Has anybody read this book? Written by Paramahansa Yogananda. I can't remember his actual name, but this was his initiate name. And he is the one who introduced really yoga and Western thought into the West. He came in America in about the 1920s, I want to say. And he's the one that really was the founding father. So this book, okay, contains a lot of the stories, a lot of, and one interesting thing in this book, and which we know from quantum science and we know now via different modalities, is that the objects that you can manifest that way via your willpower and via your imagination, they're not permanent in this world. Isn't that interesting? They're not, other than food that you consume, they have impermanence. So an object would be manifested and given to you, and then at some point it would disappear from this world. And I find that very interesting, but I also find that it makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense, right? Because we're not really we can create in this world from 3D, but anything physical object that we can manifest from 5D, it doesn't make sense that we would have the power to sustain it energetically. Because when you bring the atoms together, you bring them with your energy. And as you remove your energy from that object, it wouldn't make sense that that object would have permanence. Yeah, that's why it would disappear. It would disappear because it's the same way as when you manifest a man to come back to you and tell you the things that you wanted to hear. Like you script there, I'm hypnotic and mesmerizing, and the man tells you exactly that when he comes back, but then he leaves you again. It's because with your energy, with the energy that you're channeling within yourself, you can't really sustain this spell, this creation that you made in the world. That's why we don't have that kind of power to sustain it. We have power to access, and we have power to, if you're clear, if you're the more pure you are, of course, you can channel this energy and then you can create something, but you're not going to be able to channel that energy on and on and on as you live in 3D. If you live in the Himalayas, maybe, okay? But if you live in traffic, if you have a spouse, if you have a boss, you're not going to be able to sustain that energy with your attention. No way. All right. So I want to read. I'm going to go to whatever comments I thought were interesting, and I actually have a question from somebody that she sent it to me. I found it interesting, so I want to talk about it. She's saying, "Hi Mona, I have become afraid to manifest. I came into contact with a manifestation coach about 3 years ago. I signed up for her program and followed her advice. Slowly, everything started spinning backwards. When I manifested an amount that I wanted to bring into my company in the month, I went that amount minus, so that exact amount minus. When I manifested colleagues I wanted, I got the opposite. 2 years later, I went bankrupt. My dream, my everything disappeared in one day. Everything was gone. I believe in manifestations and that they work, but now I don't know how to dare to start again. I love your work and I'm in your Facebook group." Okay. So I want to just keep the identity of this person private. Thank you for writing this to me, okay? So I want to clarify for everybody that what she's talking about is her manifestation actually worked. But what happens is when you give a clear instruction, what manifests is your dominant belief about that instruction. So it's not enough that you place a clear request. Is that request creating fear, shame, or guilt inside of you? So when you're saying, "I'm afraid of manifestation," obviously I don't know this person. I don't know. It matters a lot how you grew up with. What is your religious background? What is the paradigm you may have internalized about being able to use these powers? Who are you really working with? So I found that even on our group coaching session that we had on my Facebook group on Saturday, I found there's a lot of religious skeletons in everyone's closet. Again, my teachings are not anti-religion at all. They can be applied with religion, but the only part about religion that doesn't work is this guilt and shame of exercising your full innate power in this world. So she is saying, "I'm afraid to manifest because all these things happen." So I want to say to her, do you understand that giving a clear instruction, "I want $30,000," is not enough? You actually have to align. So the work is in bringing yourself to be the type of person that gets that, because otherwise the universe will execute anyways, right? They will execute, but it will be the minus. Exactly what you're describing, right? This is why working on yourself comes first. You cannot be this person that's damaged by your childhood, by the interaction with other people, that hates politicians, that has a lot of anger and resentment against other people, against circumstances, that's reacting the exact same way for years and years. You're 30 years old, and now all of a sudden, but on top of that, on top of all of this pit, black hole that's in my heart, I want to manifest $30,000. The universe hears $30,000 and it's sucking it into that black hole, right? It's giving it to you, but it's processed in reverse because you're in reverse. You're in reverse with creation. If you're in fear, guilt, shame, anger, you're in reverse with creation. Do you understand that? Somebody needed to hear that today. I feel like somebody needed to hear exactly that. So don't bother giving clear instructions on what you want if you don't understand that exploring what's inside comes first. I think I have queens in my group who will tell you they didn't understand, or even they didn't even understand that they weren't speaking the truth about what they wanted. They were like, oh, I want this. And like 2 months later, after they're doing my 60-day challenge, oh, but actually, you know what? I don't want that. I want this other thing, but I think I was just afraid to say it out loud. I was just, I was afraid. So manifesting money when you don't have enough comes from a vibration of lack and fear. I do not suggest you manifest money in that sense. If you don't have enough money for tomorrow, manifest all of my needs are always met. It's always being taken care of. The vehicle, I don't know. I don't know if money will be given to me directly. I don't know what vehicle it will come through. I don't know if somebody else will take care of my expenses. I don't know if, all of a sudden a promotion opportunity, whatever it is, it's going to come to pass and then I will, or I don't know and I don't want to know. How do you join the group? The links are in my bio. You can explore my page and see what resonates with you if you want to join. I've been doing this work since April of last year, and most people have been with me since then, the ones who are working. I do a 60-day challenge. It's a one-time payment, and people have been doing it 6-7 times now because they keep seeing results. So I'm very proud of this work. And I show up for people once a week also on Mondays and more in my group for those who are part of my group. Okay, so manifesting money when you don't have enough comes from lack. Remember that. Either manifest all my needs are met, or if your needs are met but you want more, manifest the lifestyle that you want to have, and never money. It's not that manifesting money doesn't work. For the majority of people, it doesn't work because of this fear of lack. Okay? But if you work on yourself and if you keep setting your mind on a lifestyle, somehow that will happen. Don't try to figure out how. Yeah, in general, you'll be given more money to make that happen. Okay, in general, when I visualized my house from going from lesser circumstances to a 4-bedroom detached home, I wasn't counting, oh, but how much money would I need to do that? And can I manifest this amount of money? Because it would have seemed impossible for me to manifest that. But what seemed possible for me is to be like, yes, I'm the kind of person who lives in this kind of house. Yes, why not? I can converse with people, I'm smart, I am this, and bring yourself up in ways that make you feel deserving. And I don't see why I shouldn't have that. And so it happened because of that. But if I had set my mind, hey, I need $300,000, I don't know if that would have worked that way. I don't know. Do you see the difference? So either all my needs are met, or this is the lifestyle that I deserve, but you have to believe that you deserve it. You have to believe that you deserve it, and you can effectuate a contribution into the world once you have what you want. Into the world, into the bigger consciousness. If you say, I want to travel everywhere because I want to return into the infinite intelligence, my experience of having seen and understood the world, then as you are given your first opportunity to travel, you actually have to internalize these experiences, contemplate them, and send them back into the collective consciousness. If you're just going somewhere, going to Italy to just be drunk, okay, on a wine tour, you're probably not going to get another opportunity if you said the reason I want this is so I can return these wonderful experiences. Right? I know I deserve it. Now I'm waiting for it, but it's taking so long. It's taking long. If it's taking too long, no manifestation should take longer than what the collective consciousness allows. If it's taking longer, it means you have still stuff inside of you that you need to work on. And I find that, look, people have a big ego. It is difficult to talk to people and tell them it's you. You know what I mean? Like, it's difficult. They're like, no, no, no. Here's my 5 journals that I filled with my desires, and here's this, and here's that. And one time I manifested $10,000. How come I can't bring my husband? It's been 5 years I've been manifesting, you know? And it's difficult to tell those people, you haven't done enough work. You haven't done the right work, maybe. You haven't, there's stuff within you that need to pop up. You're not consciously aware. Yeah, you're consciously aware that, okay, your father was abusive, but you're not consciously aware of every single paradigm you have. And you really have to let those float to the surface by constantly doing a practice every single day of speaking with the universe, of wanting to contribute, of changing self, of, so you don't go in reverse like this queen here with the money. Okay. um Manifestation is not just about instruction. I always say this, right? You have to be in alignment with that instruction. If you're not in alignment with that instruction, what you need to do is give a lesser instruction and do it step by step, right? If you're 300 pounds, you'd like to be 150, okay? Just in your mind, it's too much of a difference. Not for everybody, but for most people, it'd be too much of a difference. And see yourself, I'm 300 pounds, I can definitely be 220. When you're 220, I can definitely be 180, and then so on. It's nothing wrong with doing it step by step. Again, the manifestation should come to you within a reasonable amount of time. Reasonable is defined by collective consciousness. If you're single, you're looking for a husband, you should be engaged within 2 years from the time you set this intention. 18 months to 2 years, you should be, like, if you're keeping aligned with a list, with, I know what I want, I know how this relationship would make me feel, and key, you have to discard everything that isn't that. Okay, it doesn't make sense to tell the universe, yeah, I want to feel loved, I want to feel valued, I want to feel treasured, adored, I want somebody who pays attention to me, I want to be exclusive with somebody, but what you're accepting is your side situationship. Or you're meeting a guy, you're like, he's good for now, you know, because he's hot, until I meet this guy that's on this list here. That's not going to work. That's not going to work at all, right? Because the universe will return to you using the least amount of energy. And how is the universe using the least amount of energy? Very simple, by giving you what's aligned with your paradigms. And if you accept that, the universe doesn't have to do more. How do I speak to myself to get my clients to pay me promptly? This might have an easy solution. Maybe invoice your clients in, you know, for like halfway through the job. Invoice your clients before the job. Don't take assignments from people that you don't trust. Why is your self-esteem is like, you, first of all, the business model that you have, you shouldn't be in that situation. And now I'm talking 3D. How do I get my clients to pay me promptly? Where's your boundaries? You don't accept clients who don't pay you promptly. I guess somebody could do that one time. Then you don't take them on anymore. How long did it take you if you wanted to grow taller? I don't, that's not a relevant question, honestly. Depends how old you are, depends. Anyways, you can't change anything that the collective consciousness won't permit in physical 3D. That's why you can't grow a castle right here, right in front of me, right? And I can't make my eyes now turn to blue from green, and I can't make my nose smaller or bigger because too many people have observed me into my current form. Now I can make all these changes with 3D, right? I can go and get my nose done or what have you. But that's what it is. Okay, so now I want to get into the questions that came on that video about Sati Sai Baba. Sati Sai Baba is like a contemporary guru in India. He's passed now. I think he passed in 2010 or something like that. But he was not a contemporary of this guy. This guy was a lot earlier, and his stories are like beautifully written. Now, you're not going to learn any manifestation technique or anything from here. This is just a pleasure reading. If you like to dream, if you like to think of a different world, it's mostly India at the beginning of the 19th century. It's very, very well written. But anyways, Sati Sai Baba, he was, I think, like in the 70s and 80s, maybe even 90s, he was manifesting these objects out of thin air, really, like a trick of the hand, basically, but not magician-wise. And many people went to see him. Many people got healing from him. Many people, you know, I actually have a relative of my husband who went and saw him and got something out of it, or what have you. So, but that wasn't the point of my video. The point of my video is it can be done, And the reason I used him as an example, because a lot of people are like, oh, he was a fraud, what have you, is that there's video evidence. So this book has no video evidence, right? Even though he talks about much greater things he's seen, witnessed, and done, and but I believe it can be done, and it can be done. It's easier to believe now because we have scientific, like all the quantum science, which I keep relevant with and I understand to the best. I have a Bachelor of Science also. It makes sense that you'd be able to do these things. And, of course, I heard Dr. Joe Dispenza doing it. I heard him talking about it. He's not a man who would say something like this if it didn't happen to him. He has no reason to. It's actually embarrassing. So I know, why wouldn't it be possible, right? Because it's all information, and information exists out there in the formless substance. It's our ability to convert information into a denser form of information that's in question. But me, personally, I don't need to manifest watches out of thin air and gold rings and be like a magician. That's not the purpose of my life. I like to stay level 3 and 4. I'm not training for level 5. I think maybe it would even creep me out a little bit if I turn around and I did this and something fell out of the sky. Maybe it could creep me out a little bit. But I think level 3 and 4, level 3 where everything's aligning, and level 4 where you kind of quantum jumping to the exact situation you wanted, or something materializes in front of you that you actually need it. Those would be enough. That would be enough. Like I gave my exam story, when I got the answers to an assignment, I didn't know how to start and all of that, which would be like a level 4, level 3, level 4. You don't need to and get a gold watch. What would be the point of that? I don't know. Lots of people can't do it because it's not a real desire also. Yeah, exactly. That's probably why I can't do it. It's not, it's just you can reject any ability that you have. So I want everybody to understand that. It's very important that you understand that. Just because you have an ability to do something doesn't mean you're going to do it. Why? Because you have the ability to reject it. And sometimes you reject it consciously, but sometimes you reject it unconsciously. And a way to reject it unconsciously is to have fear, guilt, and shame about it. So one of the tenets of religious teachings is that you're not allowed to do things or to create things, to make people do things that the majority can't do, right? You have to use your hands, your work, your intellect. You have to use that. Otherwise, you're doing it to the devil. So one way to just kill the desire to do all that is associated with a shame, with a guilt, with a fear. A fear. I fear if I can do this for myself, if I place myself at the top of this company, I'm going to pay for it in other ways. Like my wife would cheat on me, my husband is going to leave me, my kid's going to get sick. Like, you have a fear in the back of your mind because of the paradigm that was installed. And so your desire is pretty much killed. How do you get over fear? You explore the paradigm and you understand why you have that fear. Human beings get born with only 2 fears innately. Everything else is programmed. Does anybody know, just for fun, which of those 2 fears, what are those 2 fears? We're born with these 2 fears. You can't overcome these 2 fears because we're born with them. Does anybody know what they are? Pain? No. And death? No. Falling and loud noises. Babies only have these 2 fears. No, not death. I'm saying we're born with this fear. Everything else is acquired. Death, people fear death now because of how life is presented to us. Because this is the only sensory experience we have, and we are consciously understanding we don't know what's next. It might be something really good, it might be something really bad, or it might be the cessation of this existence, right? But people didn't fear death all the time. There's quite a few times in human history where death wasn't feared. It was actually welcomed and celebrated, right? So what happens when we die? I have no idea. You have to decide what happens when we die. I've decided what happens when I die, but I'm not here to spread my own beliefs. I talk about interesting stuff. I talk about, how you guys have to look at yourselves and your mindset if you want to change anything in your life. If you're perfect, you don't want to change anything. Everything's working out for you. Just keep doing what you're doing. Is it enough to just recognize a limiting belief and reject it? Or do you have to do more than that? You have to do way more than that. You have to monitor yourself, whether or not you actually have a different reaction when you have a limiting belief. Okay, you're like, oh yeah, money is hard to come by, or I have to work, whatever, some limiting belief about money, and you're like, yep, I wrote it down and I got over it. How do you know you got over it? Well, monitor your life. Okay, when you go to the grocery store, do you check the price of cherries? Do you check the price of what you want to eat? If you got over money is hard to make, why are you checking the price of that? Why does it matter? Do you have like this loathing feeling when you give your credit card to the cashier at the gas station? Do you see what I mean? It's very subtle. How do you know you got over that limiting belief? How do you actually know? You need to have a different reaction, first inside and then outside, to the stimuli of that limiting belief. Does that make sense? I have problems connecting Christianity and manifestation. Is it a sin? How's it connected? I have a few videos on this. But then Jesus says, these things that I do, you can do also. And greater things than this, you can do. Isn't that from the New Testament? Why would he say that? Let's see. But I have more videos about it on how you need to pacify. Uh, see, here's what I think. If I notice I have an ability, and I've noticed this since I was a kid, but if I notice I have an ability, what am I going to believe? Am I going to believe my ability to do it? Like, I have an ability to walk. If the world tells me I need to sit down in this wheelchair, but I know I have the ability to walk, what should I be doing? It seems to me I have an obligation to walk, right? So the way you're raised, if I noticed I have an ability, why wouldn't I exercise it? Because it was given to me based on how I was born, based on how I am innately. I exercise all of my other abilities. I exercise my intellect. I exercise my physical abilities. Why wouldn't I exercise my mental abilities if I have them? You got to think deeply about this and the answer to this. And the answer to this is somebody somewhere along the line told me that would be wrong. That's like saying you shouldn't walk. You shouldn't use your 2 feet. Sit here in this chair and I'm going to push you. Because it's wrong to walk. It produces too much enjoyment. It's too easy. Hey, Queen, can you manifest moving to another country? Of course. I just want to see if there's anything. Okay, I want to quickly go through this because I don't want to not have the time to take them up. We finish at 1 o'clock. By the way, my lives are 1 hour. It will be posted on my YouTube channel after that. Okay, so this is from that video again with Sati Sai Baba. And this guy says, how long does it take for level 5 manifestation to disintegrate or disappear? Are we talking a matter of minutes, hours, days, or weeks? So guys, when you're dealing with a formless substance and with quantum, there's no such thing as time. There's no such thing as time. In the old traditions of the East, they would tell you the object will disappear when it's fulfilled its purpose in our world. So for example, if you're manifesting food, this is a lot of, like, people used to manifest food, and even in the Bible, right? Jesus manifested food. It disappears once it is consumed. But what about different objects like jewelry or what have you? They will disappear for sure, but the timing is not up to us. This is like 3D thinking about 5D events. When will it disappear? It doesn't matter, but you can't be attached to when it disappears. A lot of people say that there's a specific stone that people tried and it was a hit or miss. Some people got really, really good results. I don't use any stones. And some people got, their lives was completely ruined by using, I think it was Moldavite. Have you guys heard about this? But a lot of people in the comments of that stone, when talking about the stone, they're saying, I buy this stone, I bought it 15 times, and every single time I couldn't find it. The moment I had it home and stuff, it just disappeared. So the moment something disappeared is not an invitation for you to go get more of. It's not you got to let things go, disappear, especially things that you didn't go to a store to buy. They fulfill their purpose, let them go. Mona, if you have time, could you talk a bit why the collective consciousness is negative worsening? Well, I mean, it's clearly dictated this way from the top, no? Do you turn on the TV and see that good things are happening in the world? Because good things are happening in the world. Every time you turn on the TV, there's people against people, either in a conflict, either in a war, either in a political debate, either, now it's trickled down to people like us right? Online, picking on each other, and no, this is the valid the way of thinking about things. This is the invalid way of thinking. Why do you think? It's just, this is what we're exposed to. So of course it's going to go in the negative if all you see is negative. If all you saw was beauty and positivity, all that would unfold is beauty and positivity. But when was our time in history where you just observed beauty and positivity? We can't even have that experiment, right? um Somebody else says Paquita, a famous Mexican, was in level 5, and somebody else, they were at level 5. They say, I want to investigate this Paquita. I briefly looked at it, and it seems to be like a woman, also contemporary. I think she died in like the 80s or something. But she was performing this surgeries, like energetic surgeries and growing organs and what have you. I'm just gonna quickly look at it but I'm not gonna make a video about it because I don't want my content to get too esoterical. So if you guys are interested, I find it interesting. You know, a lot of people are into healing and doing all these things. I don't talk too much about health and healing other than in the context of mindset. But yeah, it's interesting. The people who did this surgeries and effectuated these healings is interesting, right? As long as you don't get attached to, oh, she's no longer alive, so I can't heal. I can't go to her now. Or I don't know people like that who could heal me, right? Because when you read about these people, it's like you almost externalize your ability to take care of yourself. You're like, I need to go to a psychic or a guru, and oh my God, the guru's dead. So I guess there's no hope for me. And when I talk about Sati Sai Baba bringing up watches out of thin air, that's entertainment. It doesn't really mean much. So you can't really get attached to that. So I don't mind talking about it. But when it comes to these things about health, you really have to see what is the paradigm that was triggered when I read about this. Was the paradigm that was triggered, oh, me, um, uh, I wouldn't be able to travel to the Himalayas and get cured. So I guess I'll never get cured. I haven't read The Power of Eight. I don't know what it is. The next one, oh yeah, my parents and grandfather had interviews with Satya Sai Baba, and Baba materialized a ring from my grandfather. And I said, yeah, I have a relative, it's actually a relative of my husband, who saw him too. Similar story. It's not really about him though. It's more of a point that it can be done, and it's not magic. It's not about magic. It's about access. If you guys ever wonder, it's not a magical trick. It's access to a formless substance. Somebody in my group, in my Facebook group, asked me this weekend, hey Mona, why is it we need to do all this work on ourselves? Why can't we just get into the formless substance and manifest? And I said, well, because you're not that good, right? You don't have, it's not like every person who lived with any paradigm would be granted access to a complex game where you can give an instruction and end the world, right? You can say, oh, I'm in the formless substance now. I want to detonate, I don't know what, to detonate something, you know, or I want this president off, and I want this thing happen, and I want this to collapse, and I want, you know, death to my enemies, and I want all of these things. So if everybody would be given access to go in there and do this, what do you think would happen? The world would be over in 5 minutes, wouldn't it? This is why you get a graduated access based on your level of consciousness. The game of life is a game of growing consciousness. If you don't grow in consciousness, you stay at the same level, it's not a problem. The game will still use your energy. Probably will bring you again, you have to do everything all over again, probably. But if you graduate consciousness, if you graduate intention, if your intention is for contribution, for growth, and for experiences that benefit not just you, then you'll be given more and more access. And depending what you do with that access, so let's say, okay, we trust Mona to go from here to here. Depending what I do here, what I do with my results, am I gonna do exactly what I said I would do if I'm given X and Y? Right? Depending what I do, I'll be given more access or less access. I could drop lower than my original access, actually. Like this queen in her question, because she said, I went bankrupt trying to do these things. Um, think about this. Think about this. How could everyone? It's like, why are you making it so complicated? Geez, it's. Do you think like you could just, oh yeah, I'm aware this can be done now. So now the universe will just grant me whatever I ask. It doesn't matter who I am. It doesn't matter what my like. you got to be reasonable with your expectations also. If your expectation is you're not going to change anything and you're going to get everything, just keep doing what you're doing, and come back in a few years and let us know how it's been going. All right. Somebody says, I don't know. I don't think it's something you can think to make happen. I've had it happen, but not sure how it happened. Okay. So this is an important point. Okay, this person is saying, I've had it happen, objects appearing, but I don't know how I made it happen. So of course, there is a way to do it consciously, the way this more trained, more advanced spiritual people are doing it. And there's a way in which we've had all sorts of weird experiences. We who live in the 3D world, we've had these experiences, and we can't really explain how it happens. And this is how you know it's real, right? Because the circumstances are so improbable, but the match for your request is so exact that it's absolutely impossible. And I gave that example of the technical exam that I had. Like, it was an assignment. It was like an exam that was spanning like 30 pages. And I was sure I didn't even know how to start, guys. It was in my fourth year of university. And I'm going to quickly tell the story again. And so I was like, I don't know how to do this, but I didn't know it was called manifestation back then, but I'm leaving it, to you. Help me. There's always been this entity, God, that I'm talking to help me. And then 2 days pass, and I get a call from the office of registrar saying, like, we actually have a lot of work, the office work. We got a lot of paperwork in here, and we need somebody to help us shred it. We'll pay you like a minimum amount, minimum per hour. There are a few of us who went there to help. It was like a whole room full of these boxes for shredding. And when I opened the first box, now imagine, it had to be the first paper on the first box. Now I went through those papers to see what they were. We're in a room full of other people, who could observe me. I couldn't just be like, let me see what they're shredding. But it was like the first paper in the first box out of 100 boxes that said that exact thing at the top and had that exact assignment that was given in the same university 6 years prior. And I'm going to tell you, you can't, this is not something that could be seen as a coincidence ever. Whoever is thinking of this as a coincidence is not thinking reasonably and logically, actually. It's the other way around. They're actually not thinking logically, because the probability of this happening in the week that I had to hand this thing in, that I didn't even start and I didn't know how to start, and I asked for that, the probability of it existing an exam. Now, it wasn't someone's answers. It wasn't like another student's answers, guys. It was the answers, the actual proper answers that came with each question. It wasn't like somebody got 70 on this exam and I'm going to copy it. And I'm just, think about that. That can't be something that just happens. There's no way. Okay, I'm going to read The Power of Eight if you're insisting. I'm a big book reader. I've read hundreds of books. And so, let's see. Yeah, but it's better not to know how it happens. It's better. I mean, I'm sure there's people who understand it. This is what I'm trying to get with this discussion. But not understanding it is okay too, if you just focus on your life and focus on the outcome. I try to know very little about the circumstances, because every time I try to create or I try to control and create the next step, I haven't been able to. And it's only when I've let go that I have been able to. Have you ever heard of being in the vortex? Yeah. Abraham Hicks, right? Esther Hicks. Somebody says, I suspect a big key is being able to see or sense the probabilities in the field and focusing on that which is closest to what you desire. Yeah. So a lot of works talk about this. So you access the field, and the future is in a state of probability, obviously, right? It's not fixed like the past. And the past is not really fixed either, but it's more fixed. It's less probabilities than the future. The future has not an infinite amount of probabilities, but a very, very high number that could be considered infinite. And it's about, like this person says, you sense how probable is this energy thread that I'm feeling now with this event occurring. You can use this with general day-to-day events. How probable is it for me to get this job I want, or for me to get married in the next year, or you gotta sense this. So he's talking about an ability to sense that probability and aligning with the vibration of that. And when people ask me, why are you complicating manifestation? Well, do you guys think it's easy? Do you think it's easy first to access and then to align with the probability? Like, I know it theoretically makes sense, but do you guys think that's easy? Do you think it takes like, oh, let me just now align myself with the probability of, like, you have to be very naive to think it's easy. It's simple to understand because it's a structure that you need to understand, and you need to understand, yeah, I have this power. It's simple. I need to focus on it. I need to align. I need to be in alignment so I don't go in the minus when I set my mind to 30,000. But once you do that, you're like, okay, but what do I do next? Like, I'm like, what? All right. I would just like a job where I help people and make enough to feed my family, says somebody on my video as a comment. So I want this person and anybody who thinks this way to change this from I would like a job where I help people and make enough to feed my family to my needs are always met and I do what I want every day. It's the same thing. But hers or his is from a point of lack and mine is not from a point of lack. So instead of I would like a job where I help people and make enough money from it to feed my family, to my needs are always met and I do what I want to do every day. And hopefully what you want to do is to help people. Isn't that so much better? And it's not in the negative, it's not in the lack. All right. Hi, Mona. When it's said to release control, what happens when we are starting a business? Does that mean we stop creating a business? Still confused on that. Thank you. So the way you release control is you release control. Sorry, let me backtrack here. You need to have a goal. You need your life can't be on autopilot. If it's on autopilot, then what you get is more of yesterday. It's not a problem to the universe. It's only a problem for you. So you need to have a definitive goal. So you need to know why you want to have this business. What is it that you want or don't want about your current life in order to have this business? Okay, a lot of people start businesses and think like, oh, I don't no longer want to work, 8 hours a day. What you're gonna find in your own business, like I found, and like the majority of business owners found whose businesses didn't go bankrupt, is that you actually work more than 8 hours a day. But it feels different, right? It feels you don't actually work less unless you got to the level where you're really, really at the top. But even then, even when you can explore your passions like Jeff Bezos or, Elon Musk, you still work. You still put in the same amount of hours because this is 24/7. Yeah, exactly. It's always on your mind. But the idea is not to be stressed, not to feel like you're a slave to somebody else, not to feel like you need to take the moods of your boss. But you see, having your own business, you have other questions. How do I get my clients to pay on time? Somebody was asking on this. How do I make sure the supply of whatever I'm selling is going to be here? How do I make sure about next month? How am I gonna, I have a friend who has a successful business and they have I'm not successful like hundreds of millions, but they make like 4 or 5 million a year, okay? This person at some point in their journey, because I've known them since high school and I know the whole thing, at some point in the journey, she took money out of her personal line of credit that was backed by the equity in her home in order to pay her staff. Because she was short in paying her staff. Now imagine what you as a staff might not even know what's going on in the heart and in the mind of a business owner. Like how much belief you have to have in your business to do that. Right? So I want you to understand why you open a business. If you open it for the wrong reasons, oh, let me get a business. I don't need to have a boss and I'm going to make, $1 million a year and I'm going to work 2 hours a day. I don't know. Maybe on OnlyFans. I don't know. I don't even know if on that, but not a business like a business. No. Okay. So let's say you open the business for the right reasons. If you open the business for the right reasons, it's because you were prompted. You had your goal, I want this lifestyle. And the universe prompted you to open this business, not because you figured out, I need to open this business in order to get that. So when you're sitting there contemplating, oh, I want to work 4 hours a week or a day, I want to earn this amount of money, see what the prompt is from the universe, not the prompt from you. Not you being like, oh, in order to do that, I need to open a business. Maybe that's not the prompt on how you can get to that lifestyle. But if this is your prompt, yes, you should work on your business because you need to take inspired action. That's the whole point of this. It's aligning myself with the vibration and asking the universe to direct me. Aligning myself with the vibration is actually the hardest part, because here's where I work when I have to see what's in there, what's in me, what's preventing me, what my limiting beliefs are, what memories resurface that I even think I forgot about it. But it was, a memory of guilt and shame, or just of shame that's been holding me down from, I don't know, public speaking or something like that, because somebody humiliated me one time when I was 8 and I even forgot about it. So there's a lot of things that need to come up before you can get instructions and follow inspired action. Angel says, I'm calling in 200,000, and 1 week later I was in a lawsuit that will pay me 250. Oh, you were calling in 200,000, and okay. So, this goes to show it's not necessarily to open a business, right? If you're just calling in 200,000 and you're aligned to the vibration of 200,000, you're not calling it in like the queen in the first story, like, oh, I need to make that because of this, and she went in the minus. If you're really calling 200,000, you have no fear of 200,000, you have a definite intention that aligns with who you are inside, you're going to get it. And you're not going to be like, now, how am I going to get this 200,000? Let me think about it. Don't worry, it'll come. Next, one time my friend and I were walking down the street. We needed a pen to write something. I didn't say anything, kept walking, and knew we would find one. Some blocks away, a pen on the ground. But then she continues, my biggest desires haven't unfolded though, so I feel lost. So many people can manifest small things, no problem. But we all know why that is, right? Especially if you worked with me for a while. Why is it that small things are easier than bigger things? Anybody? Anybody who's manifested small things and is in this dilemma? I like to engage with you guys a bit. Why is that? Why is it that we can manifest big things, smaller things? Attachment, that's exactly what it is. We don't attach emotion, exactly. I need a pen, but if I don't find it, my life's not going to change. But if I need a husband, whether or not I find it, my life is going to change. Now I'm extremely invested. I'm extremely invested in this outcome. Right? Now, what happens when we're invested? It's not the attachment that's the problem. The problem is fear. Fear, I'm never going to make it. Fear or shame inside of me, like, hey, am I worthy of being a wife? Fear, shame, guilt inside of me, but am I, like, if I am dating now, will I take something away from, let's say, my child? Or there's all sorts of emotions that are grouped under this word attachment that I wouldn't have about finding a pen when I need a pen. You know what I mean? That's the only difference. Somebody asked, what are the two fears we're born with? It's the fear of loud noise and the fear of falling. Those are the only fears. Everything else is learned and can be unlearned. Yeah, I just wanted to see if I missed anything. Next, can I journal and write about stuff, or should it all be mental? My answer was, you can journal, but it's all mental. I love to write. I love to write, see the words on the page, because I find it internalizes more. But it's because it helps me with the mental. It's all mental, 100%. It doesn't happen because you write it down. It happens because in the act of writing it down, the mental plane assimilated it. This is a very easy concept. So if you find that your mind is distracted, you're not going to be able to just do it from your mind, because you can't keep your focus enough on the mind. This is why you must journal. You must write down. You must keep consistent. Your eyes have to see the same message in your own handwriting. That's the magic of it. The magic is that the mental plane assimilates this. It looks at these words and be like, oh yeah, I am beautiful, and it's in my handwriting. And it's like, yeah, I recognize this as part of me, because I'm the one who wrote this. So I must be beautiful. Do you know what I mean? As opposed to just telling yourself you're beautiful, but now I'm distracted by somebody passing by or by a question that I read. It's not the same thing. That's why journaling works. Somebody says on, again, my video on level 5 manifestation. Manifesting gold takes a lot of energy, and he capitalizes a lot of energy. Of course, of course. So if you try to do it in your own strength, your own energy, you're gonna fail. Like, we don't have enough energy as human beings to create physical objects. We don't. This can only happen from channeled energy. But even the energy we channel, the amount that flows, so the energy is infinite around us, just like oxygen is really infinite for the human beings on the planet. But your ability to take in oxygen is limited by your apparatus. You can only take as much oxygen as your apparatus can process, right? So it's the same with energy. Even though there's an infinite amount of power out there to be channeled, you can only channel what your apparatus, in this case, your energetic apparatus, the matrix you have around you that attracts and releases information back into the world. You can only channel based on that. Now, if this apparatus is old and rusty and boggled down with all sorts of limiting beliefs, fears, again, shame and guilt, if it has holes into it, it has cords to other people that are sucking you dry of energy, it has all sorts of leakages, then it doesn't even matter if you train yourself to connect with God and get a lot of energy, because it will all just dissipate and come out of you. If you fix your energetic matrix, if you start channeling and start using this energy, you can do a lot of stuff with this energy. You can create a lot of things. Again, for me, there's no point to create objects out of thin air. That wasn't like, my video wasn't to encourage you guys to do that. It was just because it's interesting and because I want you to think of what is possible, and therefore what is possible for you in between that and zero, right? And so the amount you channel has to do with how much you can process through your apparatus, just like with oxygen. Do I eat meat? Yes, I eat meat. I tend to bless my food a lot. I also, we have, in our family, when we have dinner together, we always say grace and give, oh God, guys, please don't call me. I don't take calls during my life. But yeah, I do eat meat. Maddie said it's been 2 years of abusive ex dragging out the divorce, been trying everything to manifest. Yeah, but when you're trying everything to manifest something to go away, you're actually keeping your focus on that something. That's the problem with bad situations. Unless you can forget about the bad situation, it doesn't really go away. It's the unfortunate truth that anybody can attest to. Whatever you focus on, it just increases. It never decreases. It takes a lot of strength. If you have a horrible situation in your life, it's incredibly hard to ignore it. I know. Ask help from the divine. Guys, don't be afraid to talk to the creator. Ask that the situation is resolved, because what that ask will do in the heart of a believer, you have to believe there's a higher form than us, because it's a form that created a game in which our thoughts create reality. Hello. So imagine the intelligence required to create this game. But when you ask God to take care of a situation, what happens is, inside of you, you kind of like convinced that somehow it's going to work out, and you put less focus on it because you gave this problem to somebody else now, right? It's your focus that keeps it relevant. That's what it is. Whatever your attention goes, energy flows. May I ask why you don't incorporate stones and crystals? I don't see any point for it. I don't want to give the power away to objects. I don't, I just don't see, like, the stone will help you in proportion to your belief that the stone can help you. I didn't grow up with stones, I don't see the necessary. What's worked for me is really shift in mindset and different reaction to 3D. The different reaction to 3D happens automatically when you shift the mindset, but you also have to monitor it. You have to monitor it to see if it occurs. If it doesn't occur, you may think you shifted your mindset, but you didn't. I wish you all the best with that situation, but don't be afraid to ask. Hold on a second, because this kind of closed on me. The pen we talked about, the journal we talked about, manifesting goal takes a lot of energy we talked about. I don't know, I thought I had more, but maybe I didn't. Okay, hang on a second. This is like giving me a puzzle. What's this? Okay. Yeah, I guess maybe I covered everything. I don't know. I felt like I had way more. I had like 21 questions. Did we go through 21 things really already? Um, maybe we did. No, I think these things just weren't downloaded. It says 21 photos, but I don't see I have 21 photos. Oh, okay. I found them. Okay. Somebody says, I have absolutely done this. One time I had a dime literally fall at my feet in front of my eyes from nowhere. I've also changed the time and the traffic. Like GPS said 48 minutes, I changed it to 26. Guys, I do these things with the traffic all the time, the traffic and the weather, but I don't talk about it because I don't want to be ridiculed about it, right? Like I'm a mindset coach. So, but when I get in the car, I just decide how long it's going to take me to get somewhere. And I'm telling you, some of the situations get really eerie, because the streets that are normally busy at 8 a.m. would just be empty, when I decide on something. And but I know the days you can't do this every single day because, again, it depends on your vibration. I know when I wake up in the vibration that I can do anything, that day I really can do anything. I can change the weather, I can change traffic, I can do so. You got to milk these opportunities when you feel your best, because what's going to happen is when you milk them and they happen that way, you're going to increase your faith in yourself, and you're going to be able to have more of these moments. It's kind of going against what the world tells you can do in this world. That's what it is. Tea lady says, when I let go and I let God, the universe of karma dealt with him. I guess she's talking to the queen who is going through a divorce. Yeah. Focus on something else. Focus on manifesting abundance. Focus on growth. What can I do to contribute to others? How can I be a better person next time? It always helps. What was the error in my thinking that landed me with this toxic person? Okay, because toxic relationships don't happen by themselves. You don't marry a guy who's treated you like a princess for 2 years and then all of a sudden he turns into a toxic cycle. Maybe that happens for 1 in 100,000, but the majority of toxic relationships, there was toxicity all along. And you have to really bring it back to yourself. Why? Because yourself is the only thing you can control, right? And be like, what errors am I thinking? Because otherwise, how are you going to know you're not going to do it again? Right? If it wasn't my fault, then how do I know my next partner is not going to be exactly the same? That's the problem if you don't take responsibility for what happened. Okay. Um, Again, somebody left a note, says that Autobiography of a Yogi talks about this. If you guys want to get this book, I really enjoyed it. Again, it's just stories from early 20th century, from mostly from India, and he's coming to America. But they're really amazing. But they're not for you. You're not going to learn how to do anything. You're not going to learn any technique. It's just an amazing book. Somebody asked me an interesting question. It says, to manifest something, should I offer something in return? Isn't that interesting? So that just depends on whether or not your paradigm is that for everything that you get, you should effectuate some type of payment. Maybe you don't think that about love. Maybe you don't think that about, whatever it is. But maybe in your mind, you think in order to get a house, you need to effectuate a certain payment other than money, right? So this person is asking, should you offer something in return? If your paradigm is that, definitely offer something in return, right? Something that you mean to and you're going to contribute. Just say, if this happens for me, I will do this for others. Again, what you offer in return has to do with the well-being of others. If, I win the lottery, I will give X amount to this and this and this that I really believe in, and make sure you do it. Oh my God, you don't want to be in a situation where you made a deal with the universe and you don't respect it. So I see nothing wrong with offering something in return as long as that something is for the benefit of everyone. The universe cannot put good into your hands until you let go of what you are holding in it. You are surrounded by good everywhere. The only lack is the lack in your mind. I agree with this. The universe cannot put anything good in your hands until you let go what you're holding of it, right? So I done a video. They didn't really take off, but I really like this because somebody asked me. God will give you, this is from the Bible, God will give you beauty from the ashes, for the ashes. So what that means is because you suffered. Most people think what it means is because you suffered, because you had these losses, God will give you beauty, right? So it's a quote from the Bible that's very popular in the Christian tradition. So God will give you beauty for the ashes. But it's not that he will give you beauty because you suffered, is that the beauty comes in exchange for the ashes. It's a different way to think about it. It's what this guy is saying. The universe cannot put good in your hands until you let go what you are holding in it. You're not going to get any beauty if you're holding the ashes. You're not going to get your happy ending if you're hung up on the past. That's what it means. You have to give the ashes. It's for the ashes. It's in exchange for the ashes. Let go of what you have in order to get better. I'm 38 and desire to have a man now, a natural baby. I've let go of bad men and tried. I don't know what you're saying here, but you're definitely not too old to have a baby the natural way. My niece's birthday, my cousin's like my sister, so her daughter's like my niece. We had her second birthday yesterday, and she got pregnant at the age of 41. And she was in a 5 month relationship at that point. She has a beautiful relationship and beautiful family. The paradigm you have to let go of is it's going to take a long time for me to develop a relationship with somebody or meet somebody, and it's going to take an even longer time to get pregnant. Or 38, you're looking at statistics, right? You're just looking at statistics. It's never like if you see yourself with that baby in your hands, it's all you got to think about. Everything else will fall into place. Stay blessed on that. um Somebody says, I have predicted crashes, saw the World Trade Center on fire in a dream 3 months before it happened, grew up in a haunted house, going to sleep for me, it's like, here I go again. Sometimes I just want to rest. Yeah, so my comment here is that these gifts that we have are not always blessings. We think people with psychic abilities or what have you, it's such a blessing. They're using more of their access or what have you. Sometimes it's not a blessing to know of bad things happening in advance. It's not, it's a lot of fear. It's a lot of, and this is the level where I say it's better to develop your connection with the creator versus exploring this further. Knowing of things that will happen that you can't control and you can't stop is a curse, really, if I think about it. Somebody says chasing these gurus leads to enslavement to them. They have no more power than you. In fact, none of us have power. We are just understanding the rules and playing with them. Yeah, exactly. The power that we have is just understanding our capabilities, just like our power to walk. We have the power to walk. We have the power to use, our index, like our thumb, as opposed to animals don't have this power, right? It's like it's not power per se. It's learning how to play the game. But it depends what mindset you're approaching this with, right? I see those gurus, the people who can do this. I see them as people like me. It's just they have more knowledge, and that's why they got more access. And they're more pure of consciousness. That's why the system granted them more access also. So that's how you have to look at it. I don't know why you need to become enslaved. Like you can look at someone with fascination and be like, how can I never be like, how can I take something from someone? But if somebody has what I want, I would be like, how they get it? How can I also get it? How can I never think like, oh, they got it, so I'm not gonna get it. Oh, she got that man, that means there's less good men for me. If she got a good man, that's terrible. That's one less good man for me. That's a lack mindset. Do I know about phase two? No, what is that? Somebody says, if you understand where there's a will, there's a way, then you will know how to manifest. Because our will is God's way. Yeah, so what he means here is, or there's a will, God or the universe will make a way. You contemplating on the way is a wrong way to go about it. If you have the will, all you need to do is listen for inspired action. The way will be made. That's what it means. Somebody says default mode, as in you're not doing your goals or what have you, is a script. So you need to write a new script. Yes, you obviously need to write a new script if you don't have the life you want, but your life will not unfold on your new script unless you hold a new script with, you have to sustain it with your daily energy. Okay? You can just write it and put it aside and it will happen as per your instructions. It's all, it's a game of energy, right? If you don't feed the new script energy, and you have to think of concrete examples. All of these are theories, okay? Me, if I read something and I can apply it in my life, it's worthless to me unless I read it for pleasure, like this book, okay, the Autobiography of Yogi. I just like the stories in it, whatever. But if I'm gonna write a new script, I need to understand what that means for my life. Okay, so if I'm writing a new script where I am loved and adored and whatever, then I have to not put any energy, any reaction into any situation that doesn't prove that to me. And this is how I sustain my new script. Pay attention. So if I go on a date where the guy doesn't show up or doesn't call me again or doesn't, but meanwhile I'm working on this new script where I'm loved and adored, I can't have a reaction to that. I can't even acknowledge that. I can't call a friend and tell her about my horrible experience or how awful men are. That's not, because now I'm not sustaining my new script with my energy. You understand? My new script has to be sustained with my energy of a different state of mind. That's what alignment is. Alignment is like, wow, this guy didn't call me back. Like, okay, just like forget about him, you know? That's crazy. Maybe he passed away on the way home. You know? So again, please understand that you need to, when you contemplate these ideas, think about your life, be like, what does this mean for my life? Somebody says, why can't I manifest finding a mini bottle of olive oil to find it, but I can't manage to manifest a job or lottery? So we talked about this. Is the level of importance you place on each of these events is different. Whether or not you find the olive oil is not really, it's not going to change your life, but you find that your lottery or your job is going to change your life. So you have a lot of attachment to it. Let's see if there's something else. I think the rest we talked about. And I went past the hour just because I had this interesting commentary on my video and I wanted to take everything up. I generally don't go past the hour. Thank you so much for joining. I end all my lives with the tapping 369. I am a winner. This takes about 30 seconds. If you want to do it with me, you can do it. Otherwise, I'll see you next Monday at 12 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. One breath in. I am a winner. 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 I am a winner.